I mean, at this point, are there any influencers who aren't problematic? Hey, what's up you guys, it's me Luke and welcome back to another video, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I post commentary and critique and reaction videos on basically anything on the internet that interests me, ranging from pop culture to internet culture and anything in between. So if any of that interests you, then be sure to go ahead and subscribe and turn on the post notifications bell so that you never miss another upload from me. And if you're already subscribed, please make sure that you have the post notifications bell set to all. Alrighty guys, so we're coming up to the end of 2020, one of the most monstrous years of most of our existence, and I thought that I would go ahead and discuss some of the most problematic influences of the year, because boy oh boy has there been many of them. From partying during the pandemic to everything else in between, we have a lot to cover today. So without further ado, let's just get into it, because I'm about to dive in to these problematic influences. Let's get it. Alrighty guys, so these are in no particular order. I have a long fat list sitting in front of me. So first up we have Gabby DiMartino. So if you do not know, Gabby DiMartino started an OnlyFans where she was going to treat it more like her Finsta, where she just posted like exclusive content that you can't gather on her Instagram. It wasn't supposed to be something sexual, even though everything on OnlyFans is typically sexual, because why am I saying it like that? Because that's kind of what the platform is known for, because it doesn't have any restrictions. So a lot of the times, if people hear like, oh, I have an OnlyFans, they're just going to assume that you're posting your naked booty on there, because that's just the way it be. But that was not the case for Gabby, apparently, until she posted a pay-per-view of herself as a child lifting up her dress with a sexually suggestive caption. So this is child... I'm not going to say the word, but we know what I'm trying to say. And this is highly inappropriate, highly disgusting, and she should literally be removed off of OnlyFans because of that. I think that is so inappropriate and so beyond gross. Even if it is a picture of you, still, like, why would you do that? It's like, I don't even understand what runs through your mind when you're going to do something like that. And her apology was like a few minutes long. It was such a bad apology. I think she handled the whole situation really wrong. Now, speaking about OnlyFans, we have the next problematic influencer, Bella Thorne. So Bella Thorne was supposed to be a part of a movie where she was going to be playing a character who like had OnlyFans or something. I don't really know. She was basically doing research for a movie, so she decided to start an OnlyFans, and she captioned a pay-per-view photo for $200 with the caption naked, like I'm naked, basically insinuating like pay $200 and you'll see me naked. And then people clicked on the image, paid for it, and she was not naked. And this caused a massive uproar for the platform because people lost out on hundreds of dollars, and she probably made hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for that. And OnlyFans had to intervene and re-instruct all of their different guidelines for the platform, which affected obviously all of the smaller creators on the platform. And now we just have bigger creators ruining other stuff for smaller creators on platforms. And obviously sex work is obviously very stigmatized already. I mean, look, I can't even really say the word because I'm on YouTube, so we know how stigmatized it is. So obviously that was a very problematic incident with Bella Thorne. And also the director came out and said like, look, we were just in discussion. I didn't ask you to do this and you just went ahead and did it by your own volition. Next up, we have Nicocado Avocado for his incessant clickbaiting of his relationship and just the downright disgusting mistreatment of his food. Let me get into this. So first of all, Nicocado Avocado and his boyfriend, I forgot his name, have broken up 5 million times. I cannot even, it's a clickbait, and oh my god, it's just disgusting. Like, I've never seen anybody clickbait this much. He clickbaits more than David Dobrik. May David Dobrik rest in peace. I don't know why I said that. He's not dead, he's just taking a hiatus from YouTube. And we all know he's making bank off of his merch anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know what, Luke? This isn't about David Dobrik. It's about Nicocado Avocado. Clickbaiting his audience with his incessant thumbnails about, we broke up, we had a fight, we're not getting back together, blah, blah, blah. And I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. And another thing that I wrote down is his mistreatment of food, which just like doesn't sit right with me, the way that he plays with his food and smashes his food. I mean, it's his money and he can spend it on whatever he wants and treat the food however he wants, but I just think it comes across really nasty, because I mean, there's people right now who especially, I mean always, can't afford food or barely can afford food because they've lost their jobs because of the pandemic. And this is just such an issue for me. And I know people could say like, oh, you know, Luke, it's his money, he can spend it on whatever he wants, he can treat his food however he wants, but I just think it's a little tone deaf. But then again, Nicocado Avocado is not exactly the type of person who cares about his reputation. And just a side note, speaking of that, I'm not saying that Nicocado is flexing because of the way he spends so much money on food, but there are a lot of influencers who continued flexing throughout this year in the middle of a pandemic where people are really struggling. So I think that that is a massive issue that needs to be addressed. So I'm addressing it now. Alrighty, next up we have Mr. Shane Dawson. So Shane Dawson was involved in the downfall of James Charles's career, which we later found out from Tati Westbrook. And I've made a whole plethora of videos about this topic if you have not caught up in the whole situation. But basically, a lot of Shane Dawson's past had come up, and he had performed all of the isms. I don't need to say them, we know what they are. And there was even some pedophilic content where he was touching himself to a picture of Willow Smith, and that was disgusting. The reason that I am censoring myself is because last time I discussed this, YouTube demonetized me. So anyway, that's that, neither here nor there. And Shane Dawson also was manipulating his audience for quick cash, like how he wanted to promote his sales. So he'd be posting on his Instagram like, you know what guys, like, you know, I don't really care, but like, you guys care about sales. Like, I know how much you guys care about sales. So I'm promoting my stuff, like my merch and my slime, which by the way, while you were like grown-ass man selling slime, it's a little bit strange. Anyway, and he's basically just manipulating his audience for a quick cash grab. Basically saying like, I know you guys care about a sale. I don't really care. I know you guys care about the sales. So here you go, because I know how much people love sales. When it's like, no man, you just are trying to make some money. You're trying to make a quick cash grab. Let's be honest here. And then obviously he was a part of the downfall of James Charles's career. And then the iconic live stream where he was mouthing off to Tati Westbrook when she was talking about her experiences that were really, really sensitive, and he's just mouthing off to her. Not a good look, not very good deform, if you ask me. Is that the word? Deform? Decorum. I think it's decorum. It's decorum. Oh my god. I need to go back to school. And now after his past has resurfaced, Shane Dawson is trying to come back to the internet in a very calculated manner. He's trying to do it through his fiance Ryland Adams' channel. And I just think it's very calculated and very, very sneaky. I think he should come back with a full apology video addressing absolutely everything and making changes. Open your purse. Donate to the people that you have harmfully affected. Or just pull a Jenna Marbles and leave the platform. We know that you have enough money to survive. But anyway, I can't tell people what to do with their platform, so I want to make that very clear. If Shane Dawson wants to come back, that's his prerogative. Just want to make that very clear. Also, Jenna Marbles, we miss you, but I respect you. Next up, we have Jeffree Star for sabotaging people's careers, James Charles and Tati Westbrook. So we are all aware of what happened in the Bi-Sister scandal, and if you're not by now, you clearly haven't been on the internet for a while. But basically, J Star tried to ruin James Charles's reputation and career. Whether he did it on purpose or not, I guess we will never know. But it is what happened. And then he went on to the Mom's Basement podcast where he basically put all of the blame on Tati Westbrook and said that it was all her fault. Allegedly. I'm just gonna throw that in there. Okay, Mr. Star, leave me alone. What else? His awful apology where he tried to use the Black Lives Matter movement to distract from his actions, where he brought up Breonna Taylor and a few other people who were affected by the whole police brutality incident, and he brought them up to try and distract from his own actions, which I think is just wrong. It's just harmful, and I think it's inappropriate. Okay, Mr. Star? I wish I had like a judge gavel so I could be like, you are cancelled. Cancelled. No, okay. Okay, next up we have Trisha Paytas, and this one is very, very tricky because Trisha Paytas has a lot of mental health issues that she has discussed. She's recently come out and said she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. However, I think people, you know, coming from me who has a diagnosis of a serious mental illness, you have to take accountability for your actions, and your mental health can be an explanation for your actions, but it cannot, I repeat, it cannot be an excuse. So I think Trisha Paytas should still be held accountable for the way that she harmed the trans community and the DID community, even if she is questioning her gender identity and she is questioning her mental health, and I respect that. The way that she addressed those issues was very, very harmful to those communities, and I think Trisha honestly needs a PR manager who can help her decide what she is and isn't going to say on the internet, because she does a lot of harm, and sometimes a lot more harm than good. And I understand it's coming from a place of trying to figure out who she is, but like, let's do that in therapy, not online for millions of people to watch where other people can be negatively affected by it. Okay? Now, she is on the Frenemies podcast with Ethan Klein, and I have made a video about this if you'd like to check it out. But her behavior on there is a little gaslighty with Ethan, and I just think that she is kind of coming for their family in ways that I just personally find inappropriate. I mean, technically she's a part of their family now because she's dating Hila's brother, but I just think that some of the things that she says, like judging them having a nanny even though they need to work, is just very inappropriate. And some of the things she says, like calling Hila the C word, is very inappropriate, like in their house, in their studio, and that's that on that. Next up we have Toni Lopez for talking to underage girls. Inappropriate, disgusting, people don't talk about this enough, it's gross. That's all that I can say on that. Next up, we have Nikita Dragon for her continuous culture vulture behavior, where she steals from other cultures or fashion trends. And let's not forget about like her partying during the pandemic. But Nikita Dragon has constantly been accused of blackfishing, wearing box braids, doing all these things that are not her culture. And I think it's inappropriate and it's not okay, because people of that same culture who would wear that stuff at work would be called unprofessional and all those type of things, which is just ridiculous. So for her to wear it and it being fashionista and trendy, but then when people of the culture wear it being unprofessional and messy or ratchet or whatever you want to say, that's a double standard that needs to be addressed, and she's perpetuating that double standard. And partying during a pandemic, disgusting behavior. Like, just how hard is it to stay at home? We know these people have huge apartments, huge houses where they have so much to do. You don't need to party during a pandemic. It's not necessary. Speaking of partying during a pandemic, problematic influencer James Charles and Larry, however you pronounce his name, were partying during the pandemic as well. And plenty of people who were not influencers did not get to have a birthday party during the pandemic. So what makes you the exception? That's what I would like to know. Okay, what makes you so special that you get to have a birthday party in the middle of a pandemic, whereas other people don't get to? Mr. Larry? Speaking on that, we have Bryce Hall and other miscellaneous white boys on TikTok who dance shirtless for a living, partying during the pandemic, and I believe it's called the Sway House, yep, and they have repeatedly ignored the rules during the pandemic. Even when their utilities were turned off, they continued to taunt the LA officials by throwing parties, and then he even insinuated that Ariana Grande coming for them for partying during the pandemic was just her trying to promote her new album. Excuse-moi? As if Ariana Grande needs your help to promote her album. The caucasity, the audacity, the goal of these gentlemen, the goal of these little boys is just ridiculous. I can't believe I'm the same age as some of these people. It's just like the level of maturity is below, it's so subpar. Which, by the way, the other day someone commented on my video saying that I was a 30-year-old man judging Emma Chamberlain. Do you guys know that I'm only 20 years old? Do I not say that enough? I'm 20, by the way, if that. I'm just gonna throw that in there. Oh, I forgot to say, Bryce Hall also said that they had to work during the pandemic and that partying is their work and that that's what they have to do. No. Your work is dancing shirtless in a TikTok. That's your work. You don't need to party during a pandemic. Go home, prop up your iPhone, dance shirtless, and make $1 million. We all know that's how you do it. Okay? I'm not bitter at all. Okay, next up we have Adeline Morin, I believe that's how you pronounce it. I didn't actually cover this drama, but she traveled to Greece, did not quarantine properly, allegedly. Who knows what she did, but these are the information that was provided to us. And then she went to Big Bear, California to do Vlogmas because this is her work. You guys do realize that you have the luxury of working from home, right? So you don't need to be going on these trips and vlogging these trips, okay? Next up, we have the Kardashians. We have Kim K for gloating about her 40th birthday vacation, saying that everybody got tested and quarantined and they spent millions and millions of dollars on this birthday of hers so that they could go on this vacation, and then she like posts about it. Just like the level of tone deafness, that's not a word. How tone deaf could you be that you think that it's okay to post about your vacation in the middle of a pandemic when so many people cannot even leave their home? That's just interesting to me. And Kendall Jenner threw a party. Can I say I'm surprised? No, not really. Next up we have Dixie D'Amelio. So this is an interesting one on the list. So she actually is on here because she had some beef with Trisha Paytas, and then she decided to bring up Trisha Paytas' problematic past and dance to a song that Trisha Paytas sung with the N-word. Now this is inappropriate on so many levels because you're just perpetuating using the N-word, and it's not funny. This isn't a diss or a dig. It's inappropriate. And she apologized, but I think people are very easy on Dixie D'Amelio. Everyone's like, she's a child, forgive her, she's a teenager. Yes, she's a teenager, but she's 19. She's an adult, okay? Maybe I'll give people like Charlie, who's 16, a pass because they're young and ignorant, but come on, Dixie, you're only a year younger than me, and I would never do that. Okay? And they do deserve to be held accountable. You can't just let these things slide. And then problematic influencers are one that I didn't actually speak about because I stay away from family vlogger drama, but I think I'll just mention it anyway. And that's the Stuffer family, I believe you pronounce it, for banning their adopted child from China who had a lot of disability issues and stuff like that. And they just said it was basically too hard looking after him, even though they knew what they were getting when they adopted him, and they completely exploited him for ads and sponsorships and views and all that type of stuff. So I think that that is absolutely disgusting. And this is why I have so many issues with family vloggers and why I don't talk about them on my channel, because I don't want to give them more attention and more of a platform. But I thought I would just mention it in here because I was really angry with that entire situation and just the exploitation of that child, and then just abandoning him after you used him was just really, really sad. Okay, and then I left this one for last because there is a lot of different things on this list, so I might have to look down a bit more on my computer. And this is Tana Mojo. So Tana Mojo has been especially problematic this year. So first up, we start with the Tana Turns 21 series, which I have a whole reaction series to. If you don't know, I'll link it down below. I react to every episode in the MTV show. So she was undermining the severity of asthma in the show, which is a respiratory condition. And even though it was not filmed during the pandemic, it came out during the pandemic, and that is just very, very tone deaf, because there are people who have asthma who are scared for their lives because there is a virus going around that attacks your respiratory system. I'm not saying this is Tana Mojo's fault because she didn't know, because this was filmed in the past, but she was still ignorant about it to begin with, and she was just disrespectful to nurses and doctors and other people in the show that I just think is ridiculous. She just came across very entitled, and I was not a fan of her reputation in the Tana Turns 21 series. Next up is her OnlyFans. She insinuated that it would be where she would be showing her boudoir completely nude, which is not the case. And also she's taking away a platform from smaller influencers, but you know what, if she wants to be on OnlyFans, that's her prerogative. But she's basically just posting pictures on there that she used to post on Instagram. Allegedly. I'm just gonna throw that in there because that's what I've heard. I actually would not subscribe to her OnlyFans because I'm not giving her money, and also I don't want to see her naked. So that's that on that. Her story times. So she weaponizes her fans, and she creates story times where she leaves hints about who is in the video, and then her fans go and send hate to those people, send them death threats. It's really disgusting. This actually recently happened with the most recent story time, and the girl actually made a video about it, and in that video she discusses how Tana Mojo actually outed her as being bisexual when she had not come out publicly. So there's that. Her fans sent her death threats, and Tana Mojo spread lies and misinformation. This is all alleged because this is Brooke's word against Tana Mojo's word, but honestly I would not be surprised if that's the case given Tana Mojo's track record. And yeah, she just fabricates a lot of stuff in her story times. This is like old news. This is kind of just what it is, but she continues to do this. I'm not seeing any growth in Tana Mojo's behavior, even though she actually made an apology video this year. So she had been constantly accused for having made several microaggressions, and there is proof of her microaggressions, and she did not address them for months, and then she eventually made her apology video, and it was horrendous. You could tell that it was completely scripted, and she was just reading off of a script because there were so many different cuts. It seemed completely disingenuous, and it just does not seem like a good apology. She did not seem like she was fully understanding the severity of her actions, and she has not shown growth, in my opinion. She also partied during the pandemic repeatedly, and this is an interesting one that one of you told me about, where she had this thing called Booty for Biden, where she was selling pictures of her butt to people if they voted for Biden. Now, obviously, I personally, if I was in America, would have probably voted for Biden, but you cannot sway people's voting choices. Bribing someone to vote for your preferred political party is morally wrong, and I'm pretty sure it's legally wrong too. Regardless of whether or not you lean more to the left or the right, it doesn't matter. I think what she did was wrong, and she should have been called out for it more, because I didn't even hear about it until one of you guys told me about it. Okay, but anyway guys, that is all of the problematic influences of 2020 that I wanted to discuss. Please, none of you come for me. Allegedly, according to my opinion, this is my opinion, allegedly, okay? But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and comment down below who you thought the most problematic influencer of 2020 was. If you've not already, please make sure you subscribe and turn on the post notifications bell, and follow me on all my social medias, which are just linked down below, as well as my second channel, my podcast, my merch, my Cameo, and my previous video where I taste tested Emma Chamberlain's coffee, if you would like to check that out as well. And anyway guys, that is it for me in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you in my next one, and as always, I hope that you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. Bye!